2026. A question echoes through the travel world. Is Venice still worth it? For generations, this city built on water has been the ultimate travel dream. We see romantic gondolas gliding down serene canals, hear tales of timeless beauty, and imagine ourselves getting lost in car-free alleyways. It's a powerful myth that has drawn millions over the decades, a city that seems outside of time, a perfect escape. This is the Venice in our minds before we book. But then we hear the other side. Crowds clogging the Rialto, headlines about over-tourism, rising seas, and the struggle of locals trying to live a normal life. When we talk about Venice, we often speak in absolutes. It's either a sublime, floating dream or a tourist-choked nightmare. But the reality, as it so often does, isn't found at the extremes. The truth lies in the middle. Venice is a city of profound, inescapable dualities, a place where opposing forces coexist in a delicate, mesmerizing dance. To truly understand this city, you must embrace its contradictions, for they are the very essence of its soul. It's a place that demands more than just your presence, it demands your perception. Consider its most famous face. The city is, without question, breathtakingly beautiful. To see the first rays of dawn spill across the Piazza San Marco, illuminating the golden mosaics of the basilica, is to witness a scene so perfect it feels painted into existence. The sheer architectural audacity of it all, palaces of marble and Istrian stone that seem to float on water, is a testament to a republic that once commanded the seas. Every corner you turn can reveal a vista so picturesque, it feels like stepping into a Canaletto painting. The play of light on water, the graceful curve of a Gothic window, the silent glide of a gondola down a forgotten canal. This is the Venice of our dreams, and it is entirely real. And yet that same city is also, at times, breathtakingly crowded. By midday, that serene piazza can transform into a churning sea of humanity. The narrow alleyways, or calli, become human traffic jams, and the iconic Rialto Bridge feels less like a historic monument and more like a congested thoroughfare. This is the other side of the coin, the reality of a city beloved by the entire world. The sheer volume of visitors, concentrated in a few key areas, can create an experience that feels overwhelming, transactional, and far removed from the poetic ideal. It's a sensory overload that can easily lead to frustration, making you question if the magic is still there at all. This constant push and pull means that Venice can be profoundly peaceful. Venture away from the main arteries, even just 100 meters, and the noise of the crowds fades into a gentle hum. You can find yourself utterly alone in a hidden courtyard, with only the sound of lapping water and the coo of pigeons for company. In the early mornings or late evenings, the city exhales. The silence in these moments is not an absence of sound, but a presence, a deep historic quiet that holds the echoes of centuries. This is where you can hear the city's true heartbeat, a rhythm that has pulsed for over 1,000 years. But it can also be frustratingly chaotic, sometimes in a single block. You can turn from a tranquil side canal straight onto a fondamenta, a waterside walkway packed with people jostling for space. Navigating the public water bus, the vaporetto, during peak hours can feel like a competitive sport. The logistics of life in a city without roads, where everything from groceries to furniture must be moved by boat and by hand, creates a constant, underlying thrum of activity that can feel jarring. This chaos is not just a tourist phenomenon, it is the functional reality of keeping a city on water alive. Now, the purpose of understanding this clash of myth versus reality isn't to discourage you from visiting. Quite the opposite. It's not about shattering the dream, but about giving you the tools to find it. Acknowledging the challenges is the first step toward overcoming them. To pretend Venice is only a serene museum is to set yourself up for disappointment. To see it only as a crowded theme park is to miss its enduring soul. Instead, this knowledge equips you to sidestep the frustrations. It empowers you to make conscious choices, to know when to visit St. Mark's and when to get lost in the labyrinth of Castello, to understand which vaporetto line to take and which to avoid, to recognize that the price of a coffee standing at the bar is a fraction of the cost at a table in the square. And more importantly, it allows you to connect with the authentic city that is still there, vibrant and alive beneath the surface layer of mass tourism. The real Venice isn't a fragile relic preserved under glass. It's a living, breathing community with a fierce pride and a unique way of life. It's in the clink of glasses at a local Baccaro, the neighborhood wine bar. It's in the chatter of Venetian dialect at the Rialto fish market at dawn. It's in the quiet dignity of an artisan handcrafting leather or paper in a tiny workshop. This authentic city is waiting to be discovered by the thoughtful traveler. It reveals itself not to those who rush, but to those who wander. Not to those who demand, but to those who observe. It rewards curiosity and patience with moments of unexpected grace and profound connection. Therefore, the big question isn't just if Venice is worth it in 2026. The answer to that is a resounding yes. The more crucial question is, you visit. What mindset will you bring? What choices will you make? Because in this city, more than almost anywhere else on Earth, the quality of your experience is not predetermined by the place itself. Your experience is shaped almost entirely by your approach. Think of yourself not as a consumer of sights, but as a temporary guest in a delicate and complex ecosystem. Your approach dictates which version of Venice you will encounter. Arrive with a rigid checklist and a plan to conquer the top 5 attractions between 10 in the morning and 4 in the afternoon, and you will inevitably meet the crowded, commercialized, and exhausting Venice. You will spend your day in queues, jostled by crowds, and you will leave feeling like you've ticked boxes but missed the point. You will have seen the monuments, but you will not have felt the city. But arrive with curiosity, a willingness to get lost, and a strategic plan to embrace the city on its own terms, exploring in the quiet hours and resting in the busy ones, and the magic returns. It floods back in the misty morning light, in the taste of a fresh cicchetto, in the unexpected discovery of a hidden garden. This is the Venice that captures the heart, the one that calls you back. This is the Venice that is, and always will be, worth it. Let's start with the most common myth, the one that fuels a million postcards and daydreams. It's the vision of Venice as a tranquil, timeless city, a floating museum where you can wander utterly carefree, lost in a serene labyrinth of water and stone. This is the Venice of our collective imagination, a place seemingly untouched by the frantic pace of the modern world. It's a powerful, seductive image, carefully curated over centuries. We picture ourselves stepping off a train or water taxi and immediately being enveloped in a profound, historic silence, broken only by the lapping of water against ancient foundations. You imagine gliding down empty canals, the world reduced to the gentle, rhythmic splash of a single oar dipping into the water. Your gondolier, a figure of quiet dignity, navigates the turns with effortless grace, perhaps humming a forgotten tune. The sun warms the weathered brick of the palazzos, and the only traffic you encounter is a stray cat sunning itself on a window ledge. This is the cinematic Venice, the one promised in art and literature. It's a deeply personal experience, a silent conversation between you and the city's soul. In this dream, you stumble upon a hidden trattoria tucked away in a forgotten alley. There's no garish tourist menu, just a simple chalkboard with a few dishes scrawled in Italian. The owner greets you not as a customer, but as a guest, with a genuine smile and a recommendation for the house wine. The prices are refreshingly low, the food is honest and delicious, and most importantly, there are no other tourists in sight. It's just you, the locals, and the authentic taste of Venice, a secret shared. This entire fantasy, the silent canals, the personal journey, the authentic meal, is the core of the Venetian myth. And while it contains elements of truth, it sets an expectation that can lead to profound disappointment. Because the reality, especially at peak hours, can feel like a sudden splash of cold canal water to the face. The main arteries of the city, particularly the well-trodden path from the Santa Lucia train station, over the Scalzi Bridge, towards the Rialto Bridge, and then onward to St. Mark's Square, can feel less like a charming stroll and more like a series of human traffic jams. From about 10 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon, these routes become bottlenecks. You're not so much walking as you are shuffling, caught in a slow-moving river of people, all craning their necks, bumping into each other, and stopping abruptly for photos. The sound isn't the gentle lapping of water. It's a cacophony of rolling luggage wheels, multilingual chatter, and the frustrated sighs of those trying to navigate the crush. Arrive in St. Mark's Square between late morning and late afternoon, and you'll find the drawing room of Europe has become a global convention center. The sheer density of people can be overwhelming. Long queues snake out from the Basilica and the Campanile. The historic cafes, like Florian and Quadri, are packed. Securing a table on the square feels like a competitive sport. And that simple coffee from your daydream? Be prepared for sticker shock. You're not just paying for the espresso, you're paying for the orchestra, the history, and the prime real estate. A simple coffee can easily sting your wallet, a reminder that tranquility comes at a premium. And what of that iconic gondola ride? It remains a quintessential Venetian experience, but the fantasy of a solitary glide requires careful management. Gondolas carry hefty, officially regulated prices, so there's no haggling. But beyond the cost, there's the congestion. In popular, narrow canals, especially around midday, you might find yourself in a gondola gridlock, waiting in a queue of black-hulled boats. The romance can quickly evaporate when you're close enough to your neighboring boat to hear their entire conversation, and your gondolier is on his phone, coordinating with others to ease the traffic jam. The silent personal journey can become a shared and sometimes frustrating public commute. Now, hearing all this, you might feel a sense of disillusionment. But here is the crucial secret to unlocking the city. The dream of Venice isn't dead, it's just on a different schedule. It doesn't conform to the 9-to-5 tourist rush. It operates in the quiet hours, rewarding those who are willing to adjust their internal clocks. The magic is still there, but it's shy. It reveals itself before the day trippers arrive and long after they've departed. Set your alarm. Be in St. Mark's Square at 7 a.m. At this hour, the piazza is not a crowded thoroughfare. It is your own private ballroom. The air is cool and crisp. The only sounds are the cooing of pigeons and the distant chime of a church bell. The light is soft and magical, painting the domes of the basilica and the facade of the Doge's palace in hues of pink and gold. You can stand in the very center and feel the immense scale and history of the space without being jostled. This is the Venice you dreamed of. It's a profound, almost spiritual experience, and it's available every single day to those who seek it. The same principle applies to navigation. The human traffic jams are almost entirely confined to a few key routes. The moment you deviate, the city transforms. Just 2 or 3 blocks off the main path between Rialto and St. Mark's, the roar of the crowd fades to the simple, satisfying sound of your own footsteps on stone. You'll find yourself in a maze of quiet calli and sun-drenched campielli. Here, the crowds are replaced by actual Venetians going about their day. Children kicking a football, neighbors chatting from their windows, the delivery man pushing his cart. The distant bells become clearer, and you can once again hear the water. This is where you can truly get lost, and in doing so, find the authentic heart of the city. And that hidden trattoria? It exists. You just won't find it by following the crowds. To eat and shop well on a reasonable budget, you must consciously stay out of the tourist bubble. Look for the Baccari, the small standing room-only bars where Venetians grab a glass of wine, an ombra, and a few small snacks, or cicchetti. These are the lifeblood of the city's social scene. Listen for Italian being spoken. Look for handwritten menus. By making a deliberate choice to explore the neighborhoods where people actually live, like Cannaregio, Castello, or Dorsoduro, you'll discover that the dream of an affordable, authentic, and peaceful Venice is not a myth at all. It's a reality, waiting just around the corner. Another myth says Venice is a beautiful ruin on its last legs. Yes, there's flooding and decay, but the narrative of terminal decline is exaggerated. The city faces serious challenges, yet daily life endures. For centuries, Venice has battled the sea. Today, Mose provides a modern defense. You'll see scars of water and countless acts of meticulous restoration. The treasures are actively cared for. Doge's Palace, St. Mark's Basilica, the Rialto. Where isn't neglect? It's 1,000 years of history etched in stone. Venetians are custodians, waging the fight with skill and dedication. Your tickets and donations directly support preservation. Visit responsibly, and you become a temporary steward of a world heritage. So where does the enduring magic of Venice truly live? Despite the very real challenges of crowds and costs, I can assure you it is vibrantly alive. It just doesn't reside where the tour groups point their cameras in unison or along the congested thoroughfares that funnel visitors from the train station to St. Mark's Square. The real Venice, the city that has captivated poets, artists, and dreamers for centuries, operates on a different frequency. It's a quieter, more subtle melody, one you have to consciously tune into. It's found not in the grand pronouncements, but in the quiet whispers between the stones, in the fleeting moments that can't be scheduled or bought. To find it, you must first change your approach. You must be willing to step off the well-trodden path and let the city itself be your guide. The first and most important rule is to slow down. Resist the urge to tick off a checklist of sights. Instead, get intentionally lost. This might sound counterintuitive in a city that can feel like a labyrinth, but it is the single most rewarding thing you can do. Put away the GPS for an hour, choose a direction, and simply walk. Embrace the serendipity of a dead-end street that opens onto a tiny, sun-drenched piazza you'd never find otherwise. This is how you trade the role of a passive tourist for that of an active explorer. Every call, every sottoportego, those distinctive covered passageways, is an invitation to discovery. When you wander this way, the city reveals its secrets. You might turn a corner and find the overwhelming noise of the main drag replaced by an almost impossible silence, broken only by the distant chime of a church bell or the lapping of water against ancient foundations. Or you could stumble upon a forgotten masterpiece, a small, unassuming church with a breathtaking Tintoretto inside, a weathered stone relief above a doorway, or a hidden garden glimpsed through an iron gate. These are the moments that define a truly memorable visit, personal discoveries that feel like they belong only to you. The time of day is your greatest ally in this quest. At dawn, Venice is a city reborn. Before the first tour groups arrive, the city's soul drifts with the morning boats. The water on the Grand Canal is like glass, reflecting the pastel facades in perfect symmetry. The air is crisp and clean. You'll see the city waking up not for tourists, but for itself. Delivery boats unload produce, locals walk their dogs along the fondamenta, and the aroma of fresh espresso begins to drift from the first opening cafes. This is Venice at its most authentic and serene. To stand in an empty St. Mark's Square as the sun rises behind the basilica is a quasi-religious experience, a moment of pure, unadulterated awe. The magic is also found in its living traditions, particularly its culinary ones. For an authentic taste of Venetian life, you must seek out a baccaro. These are the city's humble, hole-in-the-wall wine bars, the social heart of any neighborhood. Don't look for a table. The proper way is to stand at the counter. Point to the colorful array of cicchetti, small, tapas-like snacks ranging from creamy salt cod on polenta to fried meatballs and marinated seafood. Order an ombra, which translates to a shadow, but means a small glass of house wine. For just a few euros, you get more than a snack. You get an experience. You'll be standing shoulder to shoulder with gondoliers ending their shift and residents catching up on local gossip. It's loud, it's lively, and it's utterly Venetian. To truly understand Venice, you must also see it from the water, and not just on a gondola. The city's public transport, the Vaporetto, is an experience in itself. Hop on a number 1 boat and ride the entire length of the Grand Canal, watching the palazzos glide by. But more importantly, use the Vaporetto to escape the main island. Head for the northern lagoon, where a different Venice awaits. The journey itself is part of the magic, as the dense architecture of the city gives way to the wide, open expanse of the water. On Murano, you can witness the centuries-old art of glassblowing, where masters transform molten silica into dazzling works of art right before your eyes. Then, journey further to Burano, where the rhythm of life slows even more. Here, every house is painted a different, vibrant color, a tradition said to help fishermen find their way home in the fog. It's a photographer's dream, a visual feast that feels a world away from the stone and marble of Venice proper. And for true tranquility, continue to Torcello, the sparsely populated island where the Venetian story began, and feel the weight of 1,000 years of history under the shade of its ancient cathedral. Each island offers another rhythm of Venice. Even the most famous landmarks hold hidden magic if you approach them correctly. In the Doge's palace, don't just rush to the Bridge of Sighs. Linger in the grand chambers and listen. Here, you can almost hear the echoes of a millennium of power, commerce, and intrigue. Imagine the Doges presiding over the fate of the Republic, the secret councils, the whispered plots. Think of the prisoners, like Casanova, who made their daring escapes. The history is palpable, clinging to the vast canvases by Veronese and Tintoretto that adorn the walls and ceilings. The same is true for the city's incredible art collections. While the Accademia Gallery holds the definitive collection of Venetian masters, consider visiting the Scuola Grande di San Rocco. Here, you can immerse yourself in an entire building consumed by the dark, dramatic genius of Tintoretto. Or explore the Peggy Guggenheim collection for a dose of 20th century modernism in a beautiful palazzo on the Grand Canal. By visiting in the late afternoon or booking your ticket for a specific time, you can often stand face to face with these masters, often with just a handful of others, allowing for a connection that's impossible in a crowded room. Ultimately, the most valuable currency in Venice is time. Give yourself time. The evenings, like the mornings, unveil a different city. As the day trippers depart, a calmness descends. The stone piazzas, baked by the sun, radiate a gentle warmth. The gas lamps flicker on, casting a romantic, golden glow on the canals. This is the time for a quiet stroll, for sitting by a canal with a glass of Prosecco, for simply watching the city breathe. The enduring magic of Venice isn't a specific place or a single site. It's a state of mind. It's in the decision to wander without a destination, to engage with the city on its own terms, and to be open to the small wonders that lie around every corner. When you do this, you cease to be just another tourist in a crowd. You become an explorer, a participant in the ongoing, beautiful, and fragile story of La Serenissima. To find the magical Venice and avoid the maddening, make a smart plan. Skip hot, humid, crowded summer. Aim for April, May, September, October, or embrace winter's moody calm. Get up early, be in St. Mark's by 7:30 for golden solitude. Visit big sites first or late, and always book online to skip lines. From 11 to 4, get lost in neighborhoods. Cannaregio, Castello, Dorsoduro. Stay away from the square to save money and feel the neighborhood. Walk everywhere. For islands, get a multi-day Vaporetto pass. Unlimited rides, better value. Drink coffee at the bar, respect rules, and support artisans. Skip imported trinkets. So we return to our question. In 2026, is Venice truly worth it? My answer is yes, with a crucial asterisk. Plan smart, bring the right mindset, and look beyond the postcards. Wake early, wander late, respect the city, and Venice will capture your heart.